Anne Hathaway lost roles after she won the Oscar for Les Mis because of, quote, how toxic my identity had become online. This woman didn't do anything besides be earnest and, like, I don't know, like, be a theater kid. And I have talked multiple times about how once upon a time I was a Hatha-hater. I have found Jesus. Okay, I have apologized for that phase of my life. I did not know that her career was hurt because of how much people hated her. And we're going to talk about who I think is the new Anne Hathaway after we read this, okay? She told Vanity Fair during a cover story interview that Chris Nolan more or less saved her career when public opinion turned against her in the lead up to and the aftermath of her winning the Oscar for Les Mis. And apparently, the hatred of Anne Hathaway leading up to her winning the Oscar and then the aftermath, which I was a part of, this, led to her career being hurt, which is fucking insane. And it's insane when you think about how many abusers do we talk about on this program here who are still working in Hollywood, who are still respected artists, who have not had their careers be hurt, and they are abusive pieces of shit. Anne Hathaway's greatest sin was that she cared. She was just like she was just a woman who really loved the theater and performance and was eager and earnest, and that was her great sin that she committed. Hathaway was widely mocked online at this time, and she once remembered Googling herself after the Oscar win, only to see one of the top search results was an article with the title, "Why Does Everyone Hate Anne Hathaway?"
I really loved the article, and you talk in here about, for whatever reason, and it's a small group, trust me, it's a small group, but they're loud, because I went through this, and voices that don't like you and say mean things really stick with you. For some reason.
Oh my God, that poll is so fucking rude. Why have 95% voting for me? That is I was just some dumb bitch in college.
More than voices that say, you're great. So when that was going on after the Oscars, which you should have been celebrating, you won an Oscar, and then all of a sudden, explain to how, because you accidentally Googled something, and then this is what you found.
Yeah, and thank you for all the kind things you said in the asking of that question. Yeah, I'd gotten out of the habit of Googling myself because that's just a bad idea to ever do that. And I was trying to come up with my friends and I had an idea for Funny or Die, and we wanted to do something on celebrity pregnancy rumors. So we just Googled pregnancy rumors.
Here, let me show you the article because I remember this article. I remember this. Let me see if I can find it. Original article. I didn't write it. Fuck. Where? Fuck, I'm trying to remember. It wasn't the New York Times. Let me see if she says it here. Hold on.
And then the story came up. And
what was the story?
The story, the title of it was, Why Does Everybody Hate Anne Hathaway?
So I think, and
okay,
I know.
It's really okay.
No,
it has a happy ending.
I know.
Life continues.
Yes,
it's
but
not okay.
I know what that feels like. And I think when people write things like that or say things like that, it is cyberbullying.
Bro, 88% of you said I alone killed Anne Hathaway's career. Wow, I didn't know I was so powerful.
And so how did you deal with all that?
Well, I listened at first, and that I couldn't help it. You know, and you try to shut it off, and
Picture of a snail.
and
Thank
I
you for the
couldn't,
9
and
months.
then I realized why I couldn't was I hadn't learned to love myself yet. I hadn't gotten there. And if you don't love yourself when someone else says horrible things to you, a part of you is always going to believe
Dude,
it.
her neck is red. Like she is, her skin is flushed. God damn. And you know the other thing too, I actually feel sick about this because now being a streamer, I don't have the level of online comments directed towards me that Anne does because I'm not as famous as her. But I work in an industry where I am on the internet, and so inevitably there's gonna be comments about me. And I remember the first time reading comments from people, like posts from people who just hated me. And just like with Anne Hathaway, they had no good reason to. Genuinely. No good reason to. And you would even see people like, I don't know, I just don't like her. I just don't like her. And then, of course, you know, Israel-Palestine stuff, and then it got worse. But at least I understood with that why people then fucking despised me. So sitting here listening to Picture of a Snail, thank you for the 9 months. Sitting here listening to Anne Hathaway, seeing her flush like this and saying like, you got to learn to love yourself because if you don't love yourself, then I don't agree with that. And I think she is being very sweet still here and thoughtful. No, fuck those people. Fuck them. This isn't on you. It's not on you to love yourself. And in what way? Love yourself in a way that people can say the most horrendous things about you online that are so unjustified and it won't bother you because that will never happen. It doesn't matter how much you know you're in the right and how unjustified the hate is. It's still, of course it will get to you if you're human. I know she's moving on. I understand. I get what she's doing here where she's being like philosophical about it, and rather than say fuck you to all the haters online, which she definitely deserved to because I do that, I'll be like, fuck you hate me, bitch, suck my dick. No, she's like, I just have to learn to love myself.
Yep.
And so then it was like, okay, I don't want to believe these people. I don't want to agree with them on any level. I want to figure out who I am. I want to learn who I am, and I don't want to feel like I'm fragile every time I leave the house because I'm so dependent on what other people think about me. So I just took a step back, and as Matthew would say, Matthew McConaughey, my co-star and intro star, would say, I just kept living. And it's been a really cool journey. And I feel like I've arrived in a place where, maybe not every minute of every day, but way more than I used to. I have a tremendous amount of love and compassion for everyone else. And best of all, I have it for myself, which I never enjoyed before.
It really is just insane. I can't get over. I can't get over that this is what she had to deal with. And she didn't do anything. She didn't.
All right.
The one guy in the Ellen audience.
There's a great phrase that what you think of me is none of my business.
That is so, yes.
And you have to just, and there's nothing wrong with being fragile. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think I'm fragile. I'm extremely sensitive.
It also is very funny that this is with Ellen, who's the biggest cunt of them all.
Cry easily. I'm also a very strong woman. And I also believe in myself, but
fuck you, Ellen.
But you can have all those things.
Okay,
you can be
Ellen.
fragile. You can be sensitive. You can be strong, and but I think it's just it's hurtful, and people need to know there are other people on the other side of those things.
Is this the article? It literally was titled, "Why Do People Hate Anne Hathaway?" No, I don't think this is it. The article was It was literally titled Why Does Everyone Hate Anne Hathaway? Fuck, I remember reading this when it came out. Is it this one? It might be. I think it might be. I think it was from 2013. Let me see. Why does everyone hate Anne Hathaway? Yeah, I think it is because I think I remember this photo. My mother always told me that there are 3 things you should never talk about at a party: religion, politics, and money. I think my dear mother's going to have to add a 4th thing to that list, Anne Hathaway. So this might be surprising for those of you who were not. I don't know. I mean, you guys were all really online. It's not an online thing. For those of you who are totally shocked by this, like you had no idea that once upon a time in Hollywood, Anne Hathaway was reviled. Truly. Like it was I remember too being justified in my hatred because I knew I wasn't alone. There would always be like some fucking BuzzFeed thing, or they were like, I was not a very online person, but I was aware that there were a lot of people who hated Anne Hathaway. And I think I used that as an argument against my friend Carl, which is a terrible argument to have. Me being like, lots of people hate Anne Hathaway. It's not just me. Like, wow, what a stellar argument there. I had no idea it was this bad. Me and my family have. I did not know the aftermath of the Hathaway hating because I hate Anne Hathaway, but then I moved on. Like I graduated, I went to work. It was not something that I really like thought about and think about Anne Hathaway. So I didn't know, I wasn't keeping track of her career. I didn't know that like it hurt her career. I think a lot of us grew up, and the weird thing is I loved Princess Diaries and I loved Devil Wears Prada. But then sometime in between Devil Wears Prada, which came out in 2006, I want to say somewhere in between Devil Wears Prada and maybe Bride Wars. For some reason, I flipped on Anne Hathaway. And by the time we got to Les Mis, which was 2012, I was a full-fledged Hathaway hater. I genuinely, there's no rhyme or reason to it, honestly. Aussie Raid! Welcome in, mates! Welcome in! Ella Enchanted came out in 2004. So it went Princess Diaries in 2001. Ella Enchanted, I think Princess Diaries 2. Ella Enchanted was her next big one. Brokeback Mountain, Devil Wears Prada. Those were like her big films in the first 5 years of her career. God, she's done a lot, man. She's amazing. I love Anne now, okay? But I'm just telling you what it was like. I'm just telling you, okay? Okay. Where was I? If you want to divide a room, just bring up the actress's name and watch the venom fly. People do not like Anne Hathaway. They use the word hate a lot when they talk about her, and their hatred is vehement, like Itchy's for Scratchy, like the Hatfields from the McCoys, and Taylor Swift's for every man who she has ever talked to since her 15th birthday. Okay, that's gross too. Come on, man. But just where does this Anne Hathaway hate come from? I never quite understood it. I always thought she was lovely. I love The Devil Wears Prada, and the one time I ran into her in a Manhattan gay bar, She's been known to hang out with her gay brother and his gaggle. She was quite charming. So where does all the vitriol come from? It's a good question. She's got this theater kid thing. All right. Okay, I have named that. I have identified that as well. Where she adopts the mood of every situation she's in. She's rude in body on Chelsea Lately, poised and classy at the Oscars, but wildly overcompensates every time. I'm telling you, it was internalized. Part of this was internalized theater kid hatred. Because I am also like this. I am also a theater kid. I also adopt the mood of a situation that I'm in. That's what theater kids do. But wildly overcompensates every time, said Richard Lawson, a friend and former colleague who now covers entertainment for the Atlantic Wire, who adds that his feelings stop short of hate. She always seems like she's performing, and her favorite act is this overstated humility and graciousness. I've known theater kids my whole life. I was a theater kid my whole life. She's the epitome. See, this guy also internalized theater kid hatred. She is the epitome of the bad kind of theater kid, except she wasn't. Because she wasn't a fucking asshole. Anne Hathaway, at least it was never, like, it never came out. She was not a well-known narcissist or an asshole or a Rachel Berry type. No. But yet she got painted as the bad kind of theater kid from theater kids. It was theater kid on theater kid crime. And I think it comes from people having these notions about theater kids. And so when you're a theater kid, you get defensive. And then you look at theater kids like Anne Hathaway, you go, you're who they're talking about. It's not us. It's you. You're the bad kind. Yeah, we're all just a bunch of assholes. The theater kid sentiment was the reason I got from a majority of people that I talked to about why they loathe this particular girl. I found numerous willing subjects through a Twitter dragnet, most of which are just average Joes and not media or entertainment professionals. Tommy, 28 from Brooklyn, says, she's the epitome of the annoying high school drama dork. An air of self-importance masking all that boring. Tommy, I really hope that you've either changed your tune or you fell in a hole and never got out. Megan, 30, also from Brooklyn, says, Anne Hathaway's a theater kid whose enthusiasm and earnestness was never reined in, and now she has an international stage from which to project from her diaphragm. Megan, I also hope, just like me, you have realized that you were a fucking dick, and when you read this back, what's wrong with that? Enthusiasm and earnestness, and now she has an international stage? Who gives a shit? There are, like, sex abusers and child pedophiles who are also having an international stage. Everywhere. Megan, 30 from Brooklyn. Yeah, that was really Caroline, 18 from Chicago. She's literally in theater, not a fucking head of state. I know. But what is so wrong with being a theater kid? Isn't Hollywood full of people who've wanted to become actors from a young age? What makes Anne specifically hateable? I should have clarified that it's not just that she was a theater nerd. Abby, 27 from Dallas, says, I know plenty of people who were into theater that I would be thrilled for them if they made it. Oh yeah? Name them, Abby. Name them. Anne just has something that makes her unlikable to me. I liked her in Devil Wears Prada, and I think she did a good job in Les Mis, but I did not care for her in other roles. I think she is miscast a lot. Okay. Being miscast, though, is not the same thing as you hate this person. God damn it. I hate this because this was me. Okay, Abby, like that, yeah, I was saying the same stuff. I asked what the difference between Anne and another notorious theater kid, Leah Michelle, was, and my coworker Anna Brand quipped a spray tan. Zing. Lawson sees it as something a bit... Okay, and let me tell you, you want to know the difference between Leah Michelle and Anne Hathaway? Leah Michelle was a racist piece of shit to her coworkers on the set of Glee. Like, Lea Michele is notoriously a fucking asshole. And do you want to know the difference too? Anne can read. Yeah, exactly. Anne Hathaway's better at hiding her blind show kid ambition. It's still there, but she's pretty practiced at covering it up. Whereas it oozes out of Lea Michele, probably because she's been playing a version of herself on TV for the past 4 years. Do you want to know something too? I bet none of those people would have a problem with someone like Daniel Day-Lewis and all his method acting weirdness. Or Austin Butler and his method acting weirdness. Like, these people who, in this article, and the reason, if you're just getting here, the reason that I'm going through this is because Anne Hathaway was on the cover of Vanity Fair looking like Mother, the mother that she is. And she, during her cover story interview, is talking about how after she won the Oscar for Les Mis and was so widely mocked online and was hated by Hatha-haters, like we were called Hatha-haters, that she lost out on roles because of how toxic her identity had become. And she did not deserve that. So we're revisiting this piece that she saw, and she talks about it in here, where she says she Googled herself to figure out like what was going on, and the top result was an article with the title, "Why Does Everyone Hate Anne Hathaway?" And I remember this article from 11 years ago when I was also a Hatha-hater, and I've seen the light. Sins Melody, thank you for the 6 months. Okay, anywho. So maybe it has to do with the sort of activities Hathaway enjoyed before her 17th birthday after all. I think she's 100% inauthentic and insincere. Nothing she says or does feels real to me. And the other reason that I'm talking about this right now is because I'm going to talk about another young actress who I think is the new Anne Hathaway. And it's because I'm seeing the same thing, and she is similar to Anne, and that person is Rachel Ziegler. I have looked at the online hatred towards Rachel Ziegler and everything Rachel does. And Rachel is also very enthusiastic and very earnest. She's so similar to Anne Hathaway. They're both theater kids. They're both like very you know, like sweet, but people look at it and go, this isn't genuine. This is so annoying. This isn't authentic. I fucking hate this girl. She can't do anything right without being despised. Concerning? Oh my God, how did you make this so fast? It's just because she smiles too much. I personally dislike her earnestness, and it's not just me. Oh my God, this is fake news. This is fucking fake news. Absolutely fake. What the heck? How did you fucking do this so fast? I can't even Google an article in the time that it took you to do this. God damn it. Okay, anywho. Back to Rachel Ziegler and Anne Hathaway. I cannot not see all of the parallels and the similarities between Anne 11 years ago, when we all decided online that we were going to fucking hate Anne Hathaway and make it known, and Rachel Ziegler. For instance, I don't know if you guys can find the tweet. Also, this is incredibly leftist audio, but it's not important. Okay, so this was Rachel Ziegler on the Y2K South by Southwest red carpet.
I'm good. It's good to meet you.
The reporter's saying, like,
congratulations on your premiere.
like nice
I'm
things.
so excited.
And she's
You've had
just
a
like,
huge couple of years. I must say, I loved you in West Side Story. It's love that. I'm obsessed. Oh my god.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And what drew you to this movie, and what
She's
about
literally
representation?
like, is she making unbreaking eye contact? Yeah. But the way, okay, how do I describe it? It's like every single thing that Rachel is doing, everything she's doing, she is being lambasted online. And I genuinely think I think she's just a very eager, like, emotive person. I think she wants people to think that she's really listening to them. Like, even though she's done a million interviews and even though this is just some reporter, that, like, in her mind, I think she looks at this person and goes, I'm going to give them my undying attention because that's what they deserve. And I'm going to, like, listen to the things that they're saying to me and genuinely be thankful over them. Like, she's paying attention. And if you look at it in an insidious, like, if you are being awful about her, then you're gonna study this clip and be like, ew, look at the way that she, like, stares at him and the way that she moves her head and she's so creepy and, like, oh, what is wrong with this girl?
It's so funny to think about it in, like, the span of what I've done, where it's like, that's a classic film.
And so it's just the way that you have already framed her in your mind, that every single thing, and I say this as someone who's been through this with Anne Hathaway, you are incapable of looking at any interaction or anything that this person does without seeing it in a very negative way. Very negative way. And the guy who tweeted this that went totally viral, and it was like, it's such a gross hating tweet. He privated his account or else I would pull it up. But this is just one example of so many. And then Rachel Ziegler posted this. I think fuck. It was like after this latest thing, what was it? I had it saved somewhere. It was like, I can't do fuck. Can someone find it? It was an Instagram story, if you know what I'm talking about. She can't breathe without people hating her. What did she say? It was like, what do people want? Damn it. It was basically, it was a selfie of her in her car and she's doing like this. And she wrote, I don't know what, like, I can't do anything right with people. Man, I wish I could fucking find this. Try Snapchat story. I think it was on Snap. Rachel Ziegler story. Fuck. God damn it. This is gonna drive me nuts that I can't find. But basically, she acknowledged it. She acknowledged that she can't do anything right without people just absolutely despising her for no good reason. Yes. Okay. We'll address the Snow White thing. I know I was free scrolling Twitter and I shouldn't. So the Snow White bullshit was hate manufactured by the right, where basically, and we covered this when it happened. I'll show you the TikTok that Funky just sent me. I think this covers it.
Rachel Ziegler found a way to
Or
cast
Ziegler,
somebody
sorry.
for Snow White whose entire
Wait, is it this? Let's see. Yes, this is it. This is it. Thank you. Made eye contact with an interviewer, and even that was a problem. I actually don't know what you people want from me anymore. Bro can't open her eyes without being judged. Yes. So unlike Anne Hathaway, who, you know, social media wasn't what it was today, and I don't know if Anne Hathaway would have acknowledged it in a way that like Gen Z Rachel Zegler does. But it's the same exact thing where she's like, what do people want from me anymore? I can't do anything right. I look at an interviewer. I don't look at an interviewer. I talk quickly. I talk slow. I'm excited. I'm not excited. No, I can't do anything. I don't know what you people want from me. I love that she also responds and is funny about it. Yes. And I hope she knows that a lot of people are not psychos and like her, and know that the hate on her is so irrational.
Your personality on a marketing tour for the movie is, I hate Snow White.
And she never
This
said
is Rachel
that.
Zegler.
This was all taken so, it was out of context. It was so bad faith. Rachel Zegler did not say, I hate Snow White. She was talking about how they are making Snow White like a feminist hero, okay? The way, look, I don't buy into all the Disney, girl boss feminism, as I have said here on the stream, but that's what she was saying. She's like, Snow White is not going to be a helpless girl who's waiting for Prince Charming to come kiss her. Like, she's going to be a badass heroine. Yeah. And then she also talked about how Snow White scared her as a child. Like, that was what she said. She didn't spend the entire press tour for Snow White being like, I fucking hate Snow White. I hate that cunt. I don't even know why I'm playing Snow White.
Zegler. Her incredibly off-putting personality is not the only thing you will get out of Rachel Zegler while talking to her. She will remind you that she hates
No, fuck this guy.
Snow White.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious.
Rachel Zegler is taking
Oh
it
yeah, wow,
upon
she really
herself
hates
to
Snow
be
White.
the director, producer, writer, and rewriter of this iconic.
If Snow White does badly or whatever on Snow White, she'll be blamed for it.
Disney movie that is being released for the first time since 1942.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
Yeah.
Going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
Oh
I've
my
never
god.
cheered against-
Oh my god. Anyway, those two comments had right-wingers frothing at the mouth. If you Google Rachel Zegler on YouTube, or why does everyone hate Rachel Zegler? There are so many videos of red-pilled YouTubers being like, Rachel Zegler is, just going in on her, so bad faith, like this guy here, and saying that like Rachel Zegler is wokeifying Snow White, that Rachel Zegler doesn't deserve to play Snow White because she clearly hates Snow White. There's so many atrocious videos on her.
The movie before ever. I didn't even think it was a concept that was possible, but I will be cheering against Snow White. But Rachel Zegler has brought it out of me. But anyways, congratulations.
You're weird for that. You're so weird for that. You're a freak. Yeah, check his hard drive.
For casting somebody who absolutely despises the role that she was cast in. Special ability to do something like that. Like,
bro, you are so weird for caring about her at all. Why do you care so much about Snow White? And Rachel Zegler. You're weird for that. Like, what the fuck? This video is the only one I've seen with nice comments about her.
Good seeing you.
It's so nice to see you. You look fabulous as always.
You too. Looking great. I love it.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
Oh,
See, she's one of the few people who actually interact with Cole. She has manners. Right. If you look at Rachel Zegler from a lens of not despising this girl just because, you will view her interactions in a totally different light. You will be like, oh, she's really sweet. She is famous. She is a star, but she wants to make sure that everybody feels special. that, like, she gives her attention to whoever it is, that she's like a genuine, nice person. But if you don't see it that way, then single thing with her, you will view as awful and speaking to her character as being inauthentic and annoying and phony and theater kid. It's weird because male actors can and do give introspective opinions on their roles and work and get praised for their intelligence. Yeah, I mean, love Robert Pattinson, but how many times has he talked about despising Twilight? Like, openly hating Twilight. And people thought he was funny for that. They're like, Robert's so... ha ha ha. Hee hee. Okay, anywho. Anyway, Rachel Zegler, to me, is the new Anne Hathaway. People love Tom Hiddleston because of his earnestness, excitement, general theater kid enters. Yeah, I'm telling you. Misogyny is at play here. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like it was with Anne Hathaway and like it was with Rachel. How is it that we live in an industry where you have, you know, you have all of these male predators walking around, and yet people like Rachel Zegler and Anne Hathaway are ones that their heads are being called for? And in Anne's case, her career was actually hurt? Huh? It's disgusting. Yes, and you look at like how people turned on Jennifer Lawrence, on Brie Larson. It happens to so many women in Hollywood whose worst crime, whose greatest crime was being a gal who had a personality that just got old, I guess. Women doing anything outside the perceived norm equals the worst person known in the world. Yeah. Or RDJ making fun of Marvel. Right, like everyone knew RDJ couldn't wait to get the fuck out of Marvel. I didn't see the RDJ haters. It feels like with famous women, we get to the point, like Jennifer Lawrence, okay? For a long time, Jennifer Lawrence was beloved. But you know it had to come for her as well. There was no way that Jennifer Lawrence was going to escape unhated. And it happened. People turned on Jennifer Lawrence. It's not like she did anything. Oh no. Nope, they just decided that, you know what? I actually don't like her little personality anymore. I don't think she's funny. I think that this is fake. I think she's a bitch. I'm not buying it anymore. And then Jennifer Lawrence, you know, for multiple reasons, but I'm sure including that, took a break from acting. It's almost hilarious. One of the articles in 2013 was why people hate Anne Hathaway but not Jennifer Lawrence. Like, yes, right? Little do you know. Just wait. Just wait about 5 years. Wait about 5 years and then they will. Brie's another example. Yep. Absolutely. Okay, let me just read a little bit more of this and then go back to the main article. So maybe it has to do with the sort of activities Hathaway enjoyed before her 17th birthday, after all. I think she's 100% inauthentic and insincere. Nothing she says or does feels real to me, says Sarah, 32, from New York. And if it is real, she's even worse. Because she comes across as entitled, boring, and the last person I'd ever want to share a meal with. Okay, so do you not see how you just hating her either way? You're saying that she's 100% inauthentic and insincere, but if she actually is authentic and sincere, then that's worse because now she's entitled and boring. So basically, Sarah and the rest of us who were thinking, who were acting this way, you were going to hate her no matter what. And really, the last person you'd ever want to share a meal with is Anne Hathaway. Do you know how fucking insane that sounds? I hope Sarah is another person who has changed her heart and mind on this or otherwise has fallen down a pit filled with snakes. Imagine saying Anne Hathaway is the last person you'd want to share a meal with. Like, imagine that. Being a wet rag is the least of Miss Hathaway's problems. Time and time again, people raised questions about her authenticity. Either she seems like she's too enthusiastic or not enthusiastic at all. She's too humble. I'm sorry, but this sounds like the Barbie monologue. Oh no, maybe that monologue was more powerful than I gave it credit for. Either she's too enthusiastic or not enthusiastic at all. She's too humble and boring, or she only pretends to be humble and boring. She's too much of a theater kid, or she's trying to hide that she is at all. It all boils down to the fact that people just don't seem to believe her. They don't trust the persona that she's putting out in public. It seems like award shows are doing her no favor. When asked what Anne's worst moments were, many Hatha haters named her performance at the Golden Globes because it was still fresh in their memories. The Golden Globe speech takes the cake. Like, seriously? We should all be making fun of her, says Hollis, 36, from New York. These are adults, by the way. Okay, I just want to say, I was in college. I know I was an adult, but I wasn't 36 from New York. Megan also agrees that the speech was awful. I didn't buy it, and she was so incredibly annoying. I wanted her to stop and secretly kept hoping the music would play her out sooner. Get a job and stay away from her. One of the common gripes about Hathaway is that she makes everything all about her, even when she tries to come off as sweet and humble. And that was certainly present at the Globes when she got up on stage with the rest of the cast for Les Mis' big win and used the time to continue her acceptance speech. And during her Best Supporting Actress acceptance speech, she did herself no favors by calling the award a lovely, blunt object that I will forevermore use as a weapon against self-doubt. The rehearsed self-deprecation just drips off that phrase like an ice cream cone in July. Because that's the thing, right? You're not allowed to want it. And we talked about this before with how winning awards it's political, okay? It's not just do a really good job and then you'll win an award. Yay. No, there are politics to it. And that's why someone like Amy Adams, who has been nominated a bunch of times and famously not won an Oscar, is someone people talk about often because Amy never, ever, ever makes it seem like she wants an Oscar. But to a certain extent, you have to advocate for yourself. But it's a very, very fine line. You can't be too eager about it, or else now you get the Anne Hathaway treatment of like, ugh. Look at her. Look at that rehearsed speech. Look at her talking about herself. Look at how like clear it is that she had planned this out. But you also can't be like Anne Hathaway or Amy Adams. You can't be like Amy Adams, who never talks about it at all. Who has never really pushed on a year when she's nominated for an Oscar to win that Oscar. They would also be pissed if she went up and said thanks and left. Exactly. No, they're going to be pissed either way. Okay, now I'm starting to understand it. When Anne Hathaway is smiling next to a stoned James Franco hosting the Oscars, she does not come across as someone with a lot of self-doubt. That's so not fair about that Oscars. I blame James Franco. So when she says something like that, or blech, when many people also thought that she was trying too hard, she seems false. But maybe that's just us projecting. Maybe we're thinking that someone talented and beautiful and rich can't have so much self-doubt, can she? She would like you to think she does. Not only is this animosity unstoppable, but it seems there's nothing that Miss Hathaway can do short of getting a new face, new voice, and new personality to sway it. Amaya, 30, from New York, has a rehabilitation plan for her image that he says would make his hatred go away. She needs to lay low for a while, pull a Gwyneth Paltrow, grow her hair out, maybe start popping out kids with the new husband, take some great paparazzi shots to show us that she's human/normal. I'd love for her to come back on the scene with a killer role and surprise us. You know what, Amaya, 30, from New York? I've got a rehabilitation plan for you. It's probably not one that I can say on stream, even though this article is 11 years old and we don't know who the fuck you are. But basically, that plan would involve you and the Hudson River. This is so disgusting. But do you guys see what I am saying? Do you see what I am talking about when I say what famous women have to deal with is really what women have to deal with, but on a much higher scale because they are so famous. The idea that, oh, you've gotten too big for your britches. Why don't you lay low? Oh, you're too successful. You are doing too much. Why don't you go have some kids? Why don't you like grow your hair out? Why don't you like do something more domestic? What is this? This isn't good. We're gonna get you some cement shoes and put you in the Hudson River, Amaya from New York. But I'm telling you, this is what the attitude was then. And Anne's not the only one who's had to deal with this. And so when I see people like Rachel Zegler, and I see a repeat of the irrational, misogynistic Hathaway that Anne Hathaway got, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is just, this is just the norm. Truly. Copying Gwyneth is a wild, yeah, like how about him using an example of another woman where it's like, why don't you pull a Gwyneth Paltrow and lay low for a while? That would be good for you. Okay, you won your Oscar. You got your little statue. So why don't you just, which is so fucking insane to say, because can you imagine anyone saying that to a male actor after he's had the highest moment in his career? Can you imagine someone looking at Cillian Murphy and going, Cillian needs to lay low. He needs to like grow his hair out, pop out some more kids. Just lay low for a while. He's got his Oscar. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. better pack it up. What if this was a split situation and Caroline was all these people commenting? I'm angry at these people because now in 2024 I can recognize how disgusting this was, but I also recognize that I agreed with that back then. I read this article and I felt vindicated, and I realized like, oh, I'm actually justified in my hate for Anne Hathaway. And luckily I grew up. But looking back on this now, I'm reminded of how I too bought into this bullshit. I too was like, Anne Hathaway is just phony, but also too authentic, but also fake as hell. But then there was nothing she could have done to have not gotten the vitriol of people like Sarah, 32, from New York, Abby, 27, from Dallas, Amaya, 30, from New York, and Caroline, 18, 17 from Chicago.